Okay, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Module 3. Today is the third day of our resume bootcamp, being the 5th day of October 2024. Our first session, we dealt on resume basics, where we got to understand the types of resumes. Then we settled for one. I believe we remember. Please, you can use the chat box to put down the answer. The type of resume we settled for, and we said we are going to be working on for the entirety of the bootcamp. We equally talked about, all that should be in your resume, from your header and what shouldn't be there to your experience section and all of that. Then on the second day, that's module 2, we talked about, crafting compelling content and how to go about it, how to use numbers and metrics to attract your audience. We talked about the kind of audience we should be looking at when we are applying for a job using our resume. Basically, you are looking at the ATS, which is your audience. You're looking at the recruiter, which is your audience. You're looking at hiring manager, which is a major audience, and of course, senior management. And we want to ensure that we craft compelling content for each categories of our audience, and ensure that it is compelling enough. And we also talked about the fact that your resume is not a laundry list or a task sheet. It is a marketing tool, and as such, you want to ensure that whatever you craft on your resume is compelling enough to sell you to whichever audience or all of your audience, and appeal to them, showing that you are the best fit for the role. We also talked about the fact that the job description is the hiring manager or hiring team's wish list, and you want to be sure that your resume mirrors the job description in such a way that you represent yourself as a good fit for the job you're applying for. Today, we are going further. We'll be talking about design and formatting. Again, just like our other sessions, please use the chat box if you need to chat. As taking this session, you can use the Q&A box for questions. Just drop your questions. When it's time for questions, would take them and answer. Just in case your question is not the type that would make some sense if it's typed, you can raise your hand when it is time for questions and answers, and would allow you speak so we hear your question and I can respond to it. Again, today's session will be dealing with design and formatting. So you now know, the type of resume you settle for. It is reverse chronological resume you are settling for. Then all of the sections from header to your skills section to education section, certification, experience, and all of that. And you know how to do all of that. You know how to use metrics. You know how to use numbers to craft compelling bullet points for your summary section, for your experience section. Now, after knowing all of that, that's not all. You also need to know how the layout should look like. Design and formatting. That's where our session today comes in. because you may know how to do all of that, but if you are going to do a wishy-washy job, a design that puts your audience away, then that's going to be a big problem. If you remember, on the first day, I talked about the fact that if you are using an ATS, you want to ensure that the ATS is able to recognize your resume. We call it PARSE, PARSE. You want to ensure that your resume can pass, right, the ATS. Now, not every resume can pass the ATS. So if you upload or register or apply rather for a job with a company that uses an ATS and you do not use the right formatting, especially formatting, if not use the right formatting, then there's a likelihood that your resume may not pass. And at the end of the day, you will think you've made an application, but it got distorted and it can be used. Sometimes the ATS may not even be able to pick your contact details for the recruiter to reach out to you to submit a better resume. Sometimes it may be able to. I have reached out to candidates to tell them, oh, your resume got distorted, but I was able to get your email or phone number, and that way they sent me a better copy to my email, not to the ATS again. So you want to ensure that you have proper formatting. And today, this is what we are going to be learning. This is what we are going to be covering. We'll talk about visual appeal. We'll talk about fonts and colors. We are going to talk about how to use white space, very important. First, visual appeal. Now, I see so many of us, Sufi, like I said, please put your hands down. When it's time for questions and answers, kindly do us the favor of raising your hand if you want to speak. If you do not want to speak, then, oh, I can see your chats. There's no caption. There's no caption. I'm a deaf and dumb. I need the caption or sign language interpreter to enable me. Unfortunately, we did not prepare for that. I'm so sorry. Aisha, please try to respond to him as he can hear us. Unfortunately, we did not prepare to have a sign language interpreter for this session. So sorry about that. But we believe that it's going to be on YouTube. So I don't know how we'll do that, if there's something we can do going forward. But for this session, we do not have a sign language interpreter. So sorry about that. So moving forward, guys, visual appeal. Again, I was saying you want to ensure that you are not using Canva or any of those resume makers that are so fanciful. If you are using that, there's a higher likelihood that your resume using such will be distorted and it will not be able to pass. Yes, if you are submitting the application to a human reader, they may not find anything wrong. They may not. But for safety and clarity's sake, please understand the fact that your resume should be, you should use Microsoft Word or Google Docs for your resume. Then you can download or convert to PDF, right? Please. You should use a very clean and professional layout. No drama. Let me just say that. No drama. No, don't overdo it. Clean, simple, and professional layouts. If you type a regular document, how would you do that? The same way, that's how you should have your resume. Then, of course, you want to choose legible fonts and consistent formatting. So sometimes I see people's resume, you are using Calibri, you are using Times New Roman, then for some sessions, you are using Arial for some sessions, or some very funny font. Please, again, keep it simple and professional. We'll come to fonts as we make progress. Then, of course, the next thing is the use of white space. You want to ensure that you use your white space effectively, because it makes it easy to read. It makes your resume easy to read. When you jam-pack everything together, then it makes it so difficult. And you want to remember the fact that I have already said a lot of recruiters have so much work to do, and it takes just about 2 seconds, between 2 to 30 seconds, to go through your resume, right? So if you make it difficult for that recruiter, they may want to pass your resume by, and you do not want that. So you need to use your white space very effectively to ensure that you get your audience to actually not just see your resume, but read your resume. You don't want your resume to be seen only, but you want it to be read. Okay, first, or going forward, let's talk about your font. Like I already said, recommended fonts for your resume should be Arial, Calibri, or Times New Roman. And your font size should be 12. If you see the one I prepared, the one we'll send to you, it is 10. Majorly, heading is 14. But I would advise yours should be heading 14, body 12. So it's not too small to read. The reason I use 10 and 14 is because I didn't want the template to exceed a page. So that's not like the standard for your font size. Again, body 12, headings 14. So it's legible enough and easy for people to see and read. Then, of course, you do not want to use colors haphazardly or just as you like. It may be that red is your favorite color. Please, you can wear your red shoes, your red shirts at home. That's fine. But do not use red for your headings or as part of your resume. It's not a professional color. So you should use more sober colors like black, dark gray, and blue. Majorly, I would advise you to use blue. It's not so sharp. It's a fancy color. Blue is a bit of a fancy color, and it also looks professional. So I'd say use black, use blue. You can use gray as well. But if you see the templates we prepared, you see that it has the heading as blue. It's easy to just spot the heading because it's blue. If the heading were to be black like the others, it may not be easy to spot. That's why I would advise you use blue for your headings, and of course, black for the body of your resume. Then you want to avoid excessive colors, like I've already said. The fact that a particular color is your best color doesn't mean you have to use it also on your resume as well, so you don't put people off. I remember a mentee I told to write his resume. I wanted to see what he would write first before taking him through and making some corrections. And what he did, some parts of what he wrote was green, some parts red, some parts yellow and black. I was confused and I was afraid. As a matter of fact, it looks like a juju setting or whatever. I was confused. So please do not do that. You put your recruiter off. Stick to these font color, font size, and all of that. Then again, white space. The use of white space, very important. You don't want to jam pack all your work. Somehow this photo we have by the other side of the slide captures a lot of what I'm going to say, or it captures what I'm saying. You can see how easy it is, how spacious it is. And so one line is not so jammed to the other. That's exactly what this whole white space gist is about. You know, use your white space to create a visually appealing document, ensuring that it is easy to read. If you look at this picture, if this were to be a document that or somebody's resume, actual resume, you can see that it is easy to read, right? So that's how you should write your resume. So use white space effectively so it is easy to read. Then of course, the essence of talking about white space is so that you don't overcrowd each page, or even if it's a single page resume, you don't want to overcrowd your page with too much text. There's something called information overload. So you want to say you want to maximize space, then you use let me say a font size 8, and you jam pack everything so you do not have a 2-page resume. You just want everything to be one page. Yeah, you may have achieved your aim that everything is in one page. You may have achieved your aim that everything is in one page, but you've not used white space effectively. So you want to balance the equation. Okay, so that will be the end of today's session. Again, like I already said, we are going to take actions going forward. Before we do that, please ask your questions. It is time for question and answer. You can now use the Q&A session box, or raise your hands to ask your questions. Thank you. Is it that we understand everything and we do not have a question? because if that's it, this will be the end of this session. What we will do going forward would be that I would ask you to draft your resume now with all you have in mind, and I will share a link on the group for those of us who attended. So you try your hands on it. Let's see from what we've learned from Module 1 to Module 3. So you just upload your resume there on the Google Drive. Then we'll make corrections on the day we'll have Module 4. But if there's a question, please let's hear you. If there isn't, we'll call it a night here. Thank you. Okay, guys, thank you, and see you in our next session. Bye.